Okay, now we're going to talk about places that we lived. I was born in Texas at Stafford in 1976, and you were born where?
Fort Stockton, Texas, at the Memorial Hospital. I was born to Dar and Aura Ray Wittenberg, and I had three other siblings, a brother named Dub, who was 10 years older than me, who was born February the 11th of 1945, a sister, Jane, who was born still um, March 17th of 1949. She's buried out on our family's ranch, uh, the Word Estate. Um, and Jane was about 5 years older than me. And I have Tom Ed, who is about 2.5 years older than me. Tom Ed was born December the 15th of 1952, and I was born in 55. Our family attended First Baptist Church. My grandfather was active in First Baptist, and so was my mother. She was in the choir and taught Sunday school. My grandfather was a deacon. Um, I never got to meet my grandparents on my mother's side. Uh, Granddaddy died in a horse accident. He was bringing sheep in, and a horse slipped on wet pavement and crushed him. And my grandmother had died of Alzheimer's. My mother was one of seven children. There was five biological children by Henry and Jenny, and he adopted his sister's two boys, Carol, which my brother's named after Dad, and William, I believe, was the other one's name. Their mother had died of Crohn's disease. Um, Back then they called it bloody flux. Mm, Grandpa and Jenny met in Marble Falls back in. Um, they were both born in 1886, and they had were married when they were about 26 years old. And Jenny and her sister ran a kind of a motel boarding house, and my grandfather was a rancher. And then they settled in Ozona and settled in Fort Stockton, and they were ranch family, and my dad's family was also farm ranch family. Um, and that's what my most of my family did, was ranching and farming and oil business. I went to Fort Stockton Elementary. I was not a very good student. I had some struggles in school, but my favorite subject was English and reading. I really enjoyed history too. Um, my favorite teachers were Vera Jessup, my second grade teacher. She was very sweet, very helpful with me, and worked diligent with me, which I really appreciated. And I really enjoyed Bill Pierce. He brought out a lot of good talents in me, and I really enjoyed working in the library, doing library science with Francis Ball, working as a library aide. I went to Fort Stockton High School for about 3 years. I did have some special education. I'm dyslexic and I have hearing disabilities and some other health issues with my heart and stuff. Um, I have been married. This is my fourth marriage. Um, I met my first husband through a mutual friend, Holly Berger, um, and we kind of went out on a date and then kind of went our separate ways. And then he got back in touch with me, and then we married. And things didn't work out because we had religious differences, and um, we had a mutual friend's wife interfering in our marriage and stuff. And I needed a job too, a full time job, which was kind of a deterrent. And I was having some problems in getting work because I didn't have proper transportation and kind of job intervention like pick or uh, a place that like job search to help me in finding a job there in New Mexico. Hobbs, probably had about 17,000, but uh, I didn't have the help that I needed in really finding a job. I did babysitting when I lived there and stuff. Um, and I moved to Waco. Things got somewhat better for me. Things were tough there. I kind of lived in a group home for 2 years. Um, it helped me get back on my feet financially and stuff. Um, went to college there in Waco, got my STNA as a nurse's aide, and worked in a nursing home there 2 years. While in training, I met my second husband. He was a supervisor of housekeeping, and he moved me up here to Ohio. And he had some issues. He had problems with drinking and drugs and stuff, and also gallivanting, running around on me. And he and I were married 5 years, and I tried to help him with a business, a body shop business, which that didn't go over because the money that I was giving him for that business, he was putting it into other activities that he shouldn't, and things just didn't go over well with our relationship. While I was working, he was out running around on me. But I was lucky that I had gotten a mobile home, paid it off, and while I was working as a butcher, I met my third husband. He and I had a 30-year nearly relationship. It was a long relationship, but it was a rough and rocky relationship. He adopted my daughter by Jeff, a Christian, and we had bought an older home, which that was a big mistake because even though it was a cheaper home, it was a home that had a lot of work to be done on it, especially the foundation. I thought, well, if I'm working and I have some income coming in off of my estate in Texas, things might work here, but it didn't necessarily go that way. It went more on living expenses for cars and babies and trying to take care of the family. And um, I got injured in, in a fall at Domino's, which messed up my back pretty bad, which got me on disability and just really kind of wreaked havoc in my marriage there, and um, put on a bunch of weight too with that injury and stuff. And then Jeff got a foreman's job, which kind of messed up my disability, did mess up my disability. And I had to go back to work, and I worked part time then at jobs because my health hindered me from working full time and bringing in the money that I wanted, and he greatly resented that because he wanted more money to be able to deal with the complications in our life and stuff. Our home flooded in 2007, and the home got to the point where it was unlivable and in conditions of being condemned. And I left that home, tried to get him to leave the situation with me. He didn't want to leave it, so that deteriorated my third marriage of nearly 30 years. Uh, and I met Eric then, I'd say nearly 2 years prior after I had left Jeff in 2007 and I met Eric 2009. And I met Eric at a dance at the Humane Society, and we hit it off well, and we had started dating, and then we had dated how long, honey? For about what? Close to
Couple of months, I think.
yeah, I'd say at least close to nearly 6 months.
Okay.
We met in March and we got married in August.
Hmm.
So we met at the St. Patty's dance,
Hmm.
and you were wearing a blue and gray shirt with stripes,
Hmm.
and I had a red dress on. You came up and asked me for a dance, and would I like to date you, and we were pretty much steadily dating, and helped you get your first apartment, and move in your apartment here, and we married shortly afterwards.
Hmm.
And we pretty much eloped. We didn't have money for that. We went up to the mayor's. Didn't really have money for the rings. We pretty much used our money for moving, and then later on got rings, got bands. Um, that's why I put a bunch of money into jewelry that um, could hurt us, especially being on SSI and stuff like that. They're very picky. Um, but
So conclude your 3 seconds.
yeah, okay. What do you want to say? You got anything else to say?
Uh, Next segment. Hope you stand by and watch our next segment.
Okay.